Are you brave enough to uncover the secrets of the house on Hawthorne Lane? The house stood at the end of Hawthorne Lane, a weathered sentinel against time. Paint peeled from its wooden siding like sunburned skin. The porch sagged, groaning under neglect. Mark, a sophomore at the nearby state college, saw none of this. He saw cheap rent and a prime location. He signed the lease without a second thought. Mark moved his meager belongings into the musty interior. The air hung heavy with the scent of damp earth and forgotten things. The basement door, a forbidding slab of warped wood, stood slightly ajar. Curiosity piqued, Mark reached for the handle. A cold draft, smelling of mildew and decay, wafted from the darkness below. He shivered, a primal unease settling in his gut. He quickly retreated, closing the door firmly behind him. That night, as he drifted off to sleep, a floorboard creaked somewhere in the depths of the house. Mark lay awake, listening to the house settle, shadows dancing on the walls. The first few weeks in the house passed without incident. Mark settled into a routine classes, studying, late-night gaming sessions. He avoided the basement, the memory of its chilling embrace still fresh. But as the days turned into weeks, he became aware of a subtle shift in the atmosphere. It began with the whispers. At first, he thought it was the wind whistling through the drafty window frames, but the whispers persisted, soft and indistinct, seeming to emanate from the walls. They were most noticeable at night, when the house was still and silent. He would lie in bed, listening to the murmuring darkness, a cold dread creeping into his bones. He tried to rationalize the sounds, blaming them on faulty plumbing or rodents. But deep down, a seed of unease had been planted. The whispers were followed by other unsettling occurrences. Doors creaked open on their own. Shadows danced in the corners of his vision. The feeling of being watched intensified in the days that followed. Mark would catch fleeting glimpses of movement out of the corner of his eye. He started double-checking the locks on the doors and windows, but the house had a way of chipping away at his sanity. Then, things took an even more sinister turn. Food started disappearing from his pantry, a bag of chips here, a box of cookies there. At first he thought he was just being forgetful, but then a half-eaten sandwich vanished from his refrigerator. He knew he wasn't going crazy. Someone, or something, was inside the house with him. Fear, cold and sharp, pierced through Mark's denial. He was living with an intruder, an unseen entity that was toying with him. Driven to the edge by terror and uncertainty, Mark decided to take action. He purchased a motion-detecting camera, a small inconspicuous device. He pointed the lens towards the hallway, hoping to catch a glimpse of whatever was haunting him. That night, he lay awake in his bed, staring at the blinking red light of the camera. Sleep, when it finally came, was fitful and filled with nightmares. He woke with a start, the first rays of dawn filtering through the blinds. He reached for his phone, his hand trembling slightly. He had to know. He scrolled through the footage, his anxiety growing with each passing moment. Hours of uneventful recordings flickered past, and then, he saw it. A figure, captured in the grainy black and white of the camera, crawling out of the ceiling vent. It moved with a disturbing fluidity, its limbs elongated and unnatural. Mark dropped the phone in shock, unable to believe what he had just seen. A wave of nausea washed over Mark. He stumbled back from the computer screen, his mind reeling. The figure had come from the ceiling vent, the attic. He had to see for himself. He grabbed a heavy flashlight from his bedside table. He crept down the hallway, each creak of the floorboard sounding like a scream. The attic access panel was located at the end of the hallway. He hauled himself up into the stifling darkness, his heart pounding. The air was thick with dust and the smell of decay. He swept the beam of his flashlight across the cramped space. And then, he saw him. The figure from the video. He was huddled in the far corner of the attic, his back to Mark. Mark's hand trembled as he took a step closer. The figure slowly turned around, revealing a face twisted in agony. Mark didn't wait to see what the creature would do. He didn't pack a bag, didn't grab his phone or wallet, he simply ran. He ran until his lungs burned and his legs ached. He never looked back. The police were called, of course. They searched the house from top to bottom, but they found no sign of an intruder. The attic was empty. The vent was undisturbed. Mark tried to explain what he had seen, but the words caught in his throat. They looked at him with a mixture of pity and skepticism. He was just another stressed-out college kid, they concluded. But Mark knew the truth. The paranoia lingered, gnawing at him every night. Years passed. Mark graduated college, moved to a new city, started a career. He tried to put the past behind him, but the fear lingered, a dull ache in the back of his mind. He still checked the vents, a compulsive habit that he couldn't break. One night, as he lay in bed staring up at the ceiling, he noticed something out of the corner of his eye, a slight discoloration on the paint above the vent. He sat up, his heart pounding in his chest. It was nothing, he told himself, just a trick of the light. But he couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. He got out of bed and walked over to the vent, his hand trembling slightly. He stood there for a moment, frozen in place, and then, slowly, cautiously, he reached up and touched the discolored paint. His fingers brushed against something cold and metallic. He stepped back, heart racing, as a shadow moved behind the vent.
I hadn't spoken to Erin in almost a year when I got the call. We were best friends in high school, drifted apart after graduation. Life stuff. Then one night, just after 2 a.m., I woke up to a missed call and a voicemail. The weird part, Erin had died in a house fire 2 weeks earlier. I remember the night vividly. The room was pitch dark, the only light coming from the dim glow of my phone screen. My heart raced as I saw Erin's name flash across the screen. It felt surreal, almost like a dream. I hesitated for a moment, my finger hovering over the play button. Memories of our friendship flooded back. Sleepovers, late-night talks, and shared secrets. As I finally pressed play, Erin's voice echoed through the room, sending chills down my spine. She sounded calm, almost serene, as if she was calling from another world. "Hey, it's me," she began, her voice familiar yet distant. "I just wanted to say goodbye. I hope you're doing well. Take care." The message ended abruptly, leaving me in stunned silence. I couldn't shake the feeling that Erin was trying to tell me something important. The voicemail felt like a final farewell, a message from beyond the grave. It was a haunting reminder of the fragility of life and the enduring bond of friendship. I thought it was some kind of sick prank. Maybe someone hacked her number. But when I listened to the voicemail, it was just static. Not silence, like crackling, like fire. Then, right near the end, something quiet, almost lost in the distortion. A scream, or maybe a voice. I couldn't tell. It sounded like, "Wake up." I replayed the message over and over, trying to make sense of it. Each time, the crackling seemed to grow louder, more insistent, as if it was trying to tell me something. My heart raced, and a cold sweat broke out on my forehead. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. I checked the timestamp on the voicemail. It was sent at 3:15 a.m., a time when she should have been fast asleep. Why would she call me at that hour? And why leave such a cryptic message? I tried calling her back, but there was no answer. Just the endless ringing that seemed to echo in the empty room. Desperation set in. I sent her a text, hoping for a quick reply, but the message remained unread. I felt a growing sense of dread, like a dark cloud hanging over me. What if something had happened to her? What if she was in danger? The thought was unbearable. I knew I had to do something. I couldn't just sit there, paralyzed by fear. I grabbed my keys and headed out the door, determined to find out what was going on. The night was eerily quiet, and the streets were empty, adding to the sense of unease that gripped me. I had no idea what I was about to uncover, but I knew I had to face it head on. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. The next morning I called her mum just to double check. The number was disconnected. Had been since the fire. I deleted the voicemail. Thought that would be the end of it. It wasn't. 2 nights later, I got another call. Same number, same time, 2:08 a.m. This time, I let it go to voicemail again, and what I heard made my blood run cold. It's not over. You need to wake up. It's coming. It was definitely Erin's voice. I played it 10 times. Her voice cracked like she was crying. Then the last few seconds, she whispered something I'll never forget. The fire wasn't the end. I showed my roommate the voicemails. He thought I was being messed with. Maybe I was just grieving weird, until he heard the next one. We were sitting in the living room when it came through. My phone lit up. No ringtone, just the voicemail alert. I remember the room was dimly lit, the only light coming from the street lamp outside. We had been talking about mundane things, trying to distract ourselves from the eerie messages. My roommate, always the skeptic, kept insisting it was some kind of prank. But deep down, I felt there was something more to it. When the phone lit up, we both froze. The air felt thick with tension. I reached for the phone, my hand trembling slightly. My roommate leaned in, his eyes wide with curiosity and a hint of fear. I played the voicemail on speaker. The voice on the other end was distorted, almost unrecognizable, but there was something hauntingly familiar about it. We listened in silence, the room growing colder with each passing second. This was no prank. This was something else entirely. The message was just 5 words. Get out of the house. Then a gasp like someone choking on smoke. Then silence. That same night we smelled something. Gas. My roommate checked the kitchen. The stove was on, full blast. We hadn't cooked anything. I never turned the burners on without a lighter nearby. We could have died if we hadn't opened the windows when we did. After that, the calls stopped. I never got another message. But sometimes, when I'm falling asleep, I hear her voice, whispering, like she's still stuck somewhere, burning. I don't know what she was warning me about. I just know something followed her through the flames. And now, it's looking for someone else. Maybe it's already watching you.
I used to go camping every summer with a group of friends. There were 6 of us. We had known each other since high school. Same spot every time. Deep woods, no cell service, total isolation. It was our escape from the world. In 2019, someone brought an old camcorder, like actual VHS tapes. We thought it would be fun to document our trip. We joked that if anything creepy happened, we'd catch it on found footage. It was all in good fun. It stopped being funny the day we watched what was on that last tape. The location held a special place in our hearts. It was where we shared stories, laughter, and sometimes, our fears. Every year, we looked forward to those few days of adventure and bonding. Little did we know this trip would be different. The trip was normal at first. Hiking, grilling, ghost stories, we even filmed some goofy Blair Witch-style bits in the woods. We laughed while setting up our tents and burned marshmallows over the campfire. One night we played cards inside a tent, sharing stories and jokes. But around the 3rd night, weird things started happening. I remember waking up to the sound of footsteps. Slow, heavy. The night was pitch black and the air was thick with an unsettling silence, crunching across the leaves near my tent. My heart started to race as I strained to hear more. I thought it was just one of the guys going to pee in the woods, so I didn't look. I should have looked. The feeling of dread was overwhelming. After we got back, I was the one who packed up the camera. I noticed it had an extra tape in the bag, one no one remembered filming. It wasn't labeled. My heart skipped a beat. I showed it to my friends and we all gathered around, puzzled, just static on the first minute. Then night vision footage of our campsite. We exchanged worried glances, trying to recall who could have filmed it. The camera was set up facing our tents, but no one had left it there. We saw ourselves, all 6 of us, asleep, no one holding the camera. It zoomed in on each tent one by one. Then the camera started moving, like someone picked it up. It walked slowly, right into one of the tents. You could hear breathing, slow, wet. Then a hand reached into the frame, pale, long fingers, dirty fingernails. It reached down toward one of our faces. Then the tape cut to black. The whole room went dead silent. We thought it was a prank, someone playing a sick joke, but when we confronted everyone, no one had seen the footage before, no one had any memory of recording it, and one of us, Jake, he didn't say a word, just got up and left the room. The next morning Jake was gone. No note, no text, nothing. We checked with his family. They hadn't heard from him either. The cops found his car parked a mile from the edge of the woods. The same woods we camped in. The camcorder was in the passenger seat, recording, just trees. And a faint voice whispering from off-screen, "I'm still watching." And the scariest part, none of us remember who brought the camcorder.